Well, good morning. Happy Tuesday. We're getting 2026 started off on the right foot. I hope everybody is. Many people I talked to yesterday seemed they were really tired. It was kind of like the first day back to work after a more of a consistent week. But let me give you something this morning to encourage you. Something that encouraged me the other night. It's out of Psalm 3, the third Psalm. In the third Psalm, David is fleeing from Absalom. If you know the story in Scripture, Absalom usurped his father's throne. David and several of his followers had to leave Jerusalem. And David is reflecting. David is a man after God's own heart. David is writing a song. He's in worship. And in verse 6, I want to point this out to you. He said, "I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about." Think about that verse for a moment. There are days when we feel like there are tens of thousands surrounding us who are against us. That's how we feel many times. Once again, David did write this when he fled from Absalom, and he felt this way. But that verse really sticks out to me because in verse number 3, he could say this. He did not fear, though 10,000s of people assailed him on every side. He could say this because in verse 3, we find that the Lord was his shield. That was his protection, his shield around him. Even when he was surrounded by those against him, David knew he was covered on every side because he knew he was still the Lord's anointed, and in his situation, in that context, but he knew the Lord was for him. Also in verse 4, I see that the Lord was his confidence. He could lift his head high. He called and the Lord answered. His confidence did not come from the circumstances around him. His confidence came from his Lord, knowing that God hears and answers his people. Also in verse 5, the Lord is a sustainer. David could lie down and sleep while he was still in danger because he knew the Lord upheld him. Peace in the night because of proof of God's sustaining presence. Now, so fear, though he had every reason to be afraid of the circumstances around him, fear had no authority over him. You know, we're always afraid. Fear is a natural thing in this world, but it does not have to have authority over us. He knew the threat was small because his God was greater. How big is God in your life today? Practically, anything that surrounds us or threatens to replace our trust in the Lord could be those tens of thousands in verse 6 that surround us. Let me give you some examples. I thought, what does it look like today? Well, it looks like fear and anxiety. We worry about the future. We fear failure. We fear rejection. We fear loss. There's constant what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? That could be like the tens of thousands surrounding us on every side that makes us afraid, that threatens to usurp that and replace that trust in the Lord. How about another thing? Pressure and overload. We have financial stress. We have family expectations. We have commitments. We have responsibilities. Sometimes that can threaten to replace it, and it makes us afraid. How about those voices that undermine our faith? Doubt. God won't help you. Goes back to Psalm 3, verse 2, when David hears that. And cultural messages that mock trust in God, or negative self-talk replaced by and is shaped by past wounds. How about opposition and conflict? Relational tension, being misunderstood. Not every enemy is visible, but the effect is real. How about temptations and distractions? Constant digital noise. How about the competing loyalties? How about subtle pulls away from prayer and Bible reading and rest? How about physical and emotional exhaustion? Lack of rest, burnout, lingering grief, discouragement. This can make small problems seem like an army when you're tired and exhausted. So we don't deny the reality of the tens of thousands that surround us. David didn't deny that reality. Yes, Absalom was against him. Yes, there were people trying to kill him in that moment. But when we redefine them, like David did, in light of how big God is and how God would take care of it, we got to go back to Psalm 3 He could say what he said in verse 6 because of verse 3, 4, and 5. In verse 3, when fears surround me, the Lord is my shield. When doubts will shout, verse 4, the Lord hears me. When strength runs out, the Lord sustains me. Take confidence in that psalm. Take a moment today. Read that psalm. If you're watching this and you have that thought, you have those feelings that tens of thousands are against you, many times it could be a reality. Other times it's our minds playing tricks on us. However, don't deny it. Acknowledge it. But do not let that fear control you. Our God is greater. Keep that thought in mind. May this thought encourage you today. Have a blessed Tuesday.